there! I wanted to show you how to make cookies today. So, we have our ingredients right here on this little screen. How we're going to do this is we have half a teaspoon of baking soda and baking powder, 1 teaspoon of vanilla, a teaspoon of salt, 2 cups of chocolate chips, 3/4 cups of both white and brown sugar, 1 cup or 2 sticks of butter. I used margarine, half a cup-ish of peanut butter, and 2 1/3 cup of flour. I use peanut butter because I think it makes the cookies softer. Oh, and eggs. I completely forgot to put eggs in the picture. Alright, so now we're going to start mixing things. So right now what I'm doing is I'm creaming together the peanut butter and the margarine to soften it up a little bit. Mine was a little too cold because you can see it's turning into like little balls or whatever. But after a while, it sort of creamed together and is this nice like beigey color. We're gonna add our teaspoon of vanilla for our flavoring and mix that in there. Right now what we're mixing together is the wet ingredients. Dry ingredients are obviously dry. Surprisingly, wet ingredients can include sugar. So we have our packed brown sugar, which is 3/4 cups. They kind of look like sand castles to me. And we're gonna put those in with the butter and the peanut butter and vanilla. And we're gonna beat the crap out of it right now because my sugar was a little too hard. So after a bit, that's gotten in there. And then we're gonna do the same thing with the white sugar or confectioner sugar, whatever you like to call it. What this process does is we're actually beating air into the butter to make the cookie base nice and fluffy, and you know, sugar also makes things sweet. Who would have thought? So after a while, it should be all incorporated together. We've punched those holes into the butter, or in this case, the margarine. And now is when we start putting in our dry ingredients. So, oh, I forgot about the eggs again. I almost reached for the flour. That would have been bad. So, we need 2 eggs right there. Okay, yep, and I cracked the eggs into a separate bowl. 1, 2, 3, and cracked. Wow, movie magic! Just kidding. So, I dumped that in with my wet ingredients. We beat those just until they're incorporated. You don't want to overbeat eggs because then they can make things a little too stiff. So in it goes, and there we are. Now you can see I have a few lumps of brown sugar in there. I ended up just scooping those out with a spoon because my brown sugar was a little too hard. Now it's nice and soft, and now is when we get to add our dry ingredients. So in that nice yellow bowl, I have 2 1/3-ish cups of flour, which will be our binding agent, sort of. It will make our cookies thicker and actually into a dough. And then in this little bowl I have salt, which is a teaspoon, a half a teaspoon of baking powder, and baking soda. I use both of them because baking powder puffs, which makes the cookie taller, and baking soda spreads, which lets it be that nice round cookie shape. So powder puffs, soda spreads, salt is salty. Okay, so I'm gonna put that in with the flour. And then in order to not have a tornado of flour flying around your house, which while amusing would be a pain in the butt to clean up, we're gonna do this a little bit at a time. So I did 3 bouts of mixing. So I mixed in the flour a little bit there. Come on, come on. This is me doing it one-handed. All right. Round 2. Mix it together. And one more round. And if you see, I just kind of flumped it all in there. We get a little bit of a tornado, I think. Yeah. And boosh. Oh, yeah, you see all that little flour stuff that exploded out there? After a bit, it's all incorporated. Once you see that there's no, like, white powder all around the edges, that means you are ready to add in your mix-ins. So I did chocolate chips. Very basic, but you can also add whatever you want. Sometimes I'll add M&Ms. I was just feeling kind of like having a little basic chocolate chip cookie today. And instead of using these beaters, which are meant to beat the living crap out of your mixed goods, we're going to use a wooden spoon. So if that can just go away. Oh! Well, that'll be a mess. It's fine. So the reason we're doing this is we're going to fold the chips in so that you're not destroying them and you still have that structure. And you don't want to over mix your cookie dough. So we'll mix those in and voila. Now we need to chill it, so put that away somewhere, just over there, that's fine. And I cover it with wax paper so it doesn't get all crusty. And that's gonna go in the fridge while the oven preheats. So we're gonna multitask here. Bye-bye. Okay. All right, you stay there. Chill out. And I'm gonna preheat my oven to 375. Go. All right, we'll be back in a bit. Okay, our cookies should be chilled. They had a chance to hang out. And our oven is preheated. So now phase 2 is scooping. So I've got trays. You can use the silicone pads if you have them, or parchment, or just on the tray, whichever works. And I have one of these fancy scooper thingies. If you don't have one, you can just use 2 spoons or a spoon and your fingers, and in we go. So I usually smoosh it a little against the side, flatten it out, and plop it onto the tray. We got a bunch of cookies now, so they smell so good. I'm really tempted, but should I? No. All right, well, goodbye. Thanks for watching. Bye.